أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والتين والزيتون والطور سينين وهذا البلد العميد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبوك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيدك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به، وسرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلاله كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد حسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معهما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك فدخلا معهما تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه والسلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. وقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقالت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتمل جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومي بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال الله إنه أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن أهل بيتي وقاستي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم، أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم، إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنكم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيعا ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذي هم تحت الكساء. فقال أمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيتي نبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أحبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يطلق السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيعا ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسير إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إننا قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لي أبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل بيتي ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلا أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي إذا والله فزنا وفعل شيعتنا ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
فقال النبي الثانية يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيه محموم إلا وفرج الله هما ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجة. فقال علي أيضا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
صلوات محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
अब्बास कहाँ हो, अब्बास कहाँ हो, अब्बास कहाँ हो, अब्बास कहाँ हो, तन्हा हूँ खड़ा तश्ते बला में बरादर, देखो जरा कर, देखो जरा कर, पाला जिन्हें नाज़ों से सोते हैं कहाँ वो, अब्बास कहाँ हो, अब्बास कहाँ हो, दिखता नहीं अब आँखों से हर सू है अंधेरा, दम रुकता है मेरा, दम रुकता है मेरा, देता है सदा میرا مجھ کو عباس کہاں ہو عباس کہاں ہو سینے میں جمال کے برچی کی انی ہے تھراتی زمیں ہے تھراتی زمیں ہے الجھا ہوا برچی میں نہ اکبر کا جگر ہو عباس کہاں ہو عباس کہاں ہو سینے سے سینہ کھینچ کے اکبر کے سرہانے اس دشت بلا میں اس دشت بلا میں تکتا ہوں بسر یاس سے دم توڑتے اس کو عباس کہاں ہو عباس کہاں ہو ہاتھوں پہ اگلتا ہے لہو اصغر بے شیر گردن پہ لگاتی گردن پہ لگاتی کیا کہہ کے تسلی دوں میں در پہ کھڑی ماں کو عباس کہاں ہو عباس کہاں ہو چلتی تھی سیاندیاں خون بکھیراتا ہر سو جب کھول کے گئے سو جب کھول کے گئے سو ایک لاش بریدہ پہ ماں کہتی تھی رو رو عباس کہاں ہو عباس کہاں ہو کہتے تھے شہیدی میرے عباس کہاں ہو عباس کہاں ہو ہے عباس کہاں ہو اللہم صلی علی محمد
وآل محمد
مرثیہ سفر کوفہ کجم 1 فاتحہ
بسم اللہ
اللہم
صلی علی محمد وآل محمد
جب لوٹ کے کربلا سے جب لوٹ کے کربلا سے اسیر ستم چلے سجاد سر برہانہ بدر دو علم چلے روتے پیٹے پابند غم چلے زینب نے لاش شہ سے کہا بھائی ہم چلے مرنے سے آپ کے میں یہی سا اٹھاتی ہوں دربار میں یزید کی سر ننگے جاتی ہوں دربار میں یزید کے سر ننگے جاتی ہوں ہائے ہائے میرے مسافر کرب و بلا حسین ہائے ہائے میرے غریب میرے محل خواہ حسین ہائے ہائے تجھے نہ پانی کا خطرہ ملا حسین ہائے ہائے تمام تن تیرا ٹکڑے ہوا حسین ہائے ہائے تمام تن تیرا ٹکڑے ہوا حسین پیاسے گلے پہ خنجر بے داد چل گیا ہائے ہائے تڑپ کی تیرا دم نکل گیا ہائے ہائے تڑپ کے تیرا دم نکل گیا لینے والی کی بذات تجھے ملی کربلا خدا کی امانت تجھے ملی خاک میری ماں کی ریاضت تجھے ملی آئے زمین شام امامت تجھے ملی دامن تیرا بھرا میری کہتی اجڑ گئی سرحد میں تیرے بھائی سے زینب بچھڑ گئی سرحد میں تیرے بھائی سے زینب بچھڑ گئی یہ کہے کہ سر کو پیٹ کے روئی وہ دل جلی آ کر نجف سے حال میرا دیکھو یاری گردن رسن میں آ کے بیٹی کی ہے بندھی تھی ماریا سے وہ بچشم تر چلی ہائے ہائے میں کربلا معلی میں لوٹ گئی پردیس میں آگی برادر سے چھوٹ گئی پردیس میں آگے برادر سے چھوٹ گئی کیا لطف زندگی کا جو نقشہ بکھر گیا کرنا تدبوا بڑا پیش پڑ گیا اس قافلہ کا قافلہ والا بچھڑ گیا ہے ہمارا کیسے بھرا گھر اجڑ گیا پردیسیوں نے چھونی جنگل میں چھائی ہے بھائی نے میرے نئی بستی بسائی ہے بھائی نے میرے نئی بستی بسائی ہے مہمان بولا کہ ہم سے داغا کی لئینوں نے کیا کیا نہ ہم پہ جورو جفا کی لئینوں نے کچھ بھی यारा न शर्म हया की लईनों ने गर्दन खिफास शह की जुदा की लईनों ने गर्दन खिफास शह की जुदा की लईनों ने खैमा जला के अहल सितम शाद हो गए हम करबला में आने के बर्बाद हो गए हम करबला में आने के बर्बाद हो गए फरियाद हम गरीबों की सुनता नहीं कोई से कहूँ जो हम पे मुसीबत गुजर गई चादर भी मुँह छुपाने को सर पर नहीं रही सर खोल शहर शाम में आई मैं दिल जली आदा हमें दिखा के सर शहर रुलाते हैं अब सामने शफी के मुझे लेके जाते हैं अब सामने शफी के मुझे लेके जाते हैं अब सामने शफी के मुझे लेके जाते हैं जब लोग के करबला से अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला
मुहम्मद व आली मुहम्मद। Mu'minin and Mu'minat, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just few announcements before we start Maulana's speech. As you all know, tonight is the Swayam Majlis, and tonight is the last Majlis of this program for the first 12 nights. Maulana Asad Jafri Sahib Qibla was with us for these nights, and Alhamdulillah, he covered a very important topic, which was around our youth, their challenges and solutions, and he covered a wide variety of topics under this main topic. Tonight, even though it's the last speech, tomorrow we have a special program which will be live with Maulana, and it'll be an interactive program where you can ask any questions related to the topic. So if you have any issues, especially with the teenagers, youth, or even youth have any questions, they can either ask us directly, or you can post those questions on our WhatsApp group, which we have created. If you are not on that group, please contact myself or Sister Sakina Jafri, and we can add you onto that group where you can post your question. If you like, you can also post your question privately to us, and we can post it on the main group as an anonymous question. So that will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. sharp. That will be relayed online. That is an online program only. So please join us online on our IZF in a YouTube channel at 6 p.m. tomorrow, Sunday, August 22nd. Our next program will be in 2 weeks, September 4th, 5th, and 6th, 3 majalis on the Shahadat of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. And that program, Maulana Farhat Abbasa from Houston IEC will be joining us here live. It will be an on-site program, inshallah. Hopefully, this COVID situation stays same or even better. So there will be no changes. So same as we did last time, we'll be outdoor program. Those 3 majalis will be not next weekend, but the following weekend. That's September's long weekend, September 4th, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Those majalis will be at 5:30 p.m. all 3 nights, evenings, 5:30 p.m. And we will finish before Maghrib prayers, inshallah. So that flyer will be posted soon on our WhatsApp group. So that will be 2 weeks from now, inshallah. Please join us for that program as well, on site at Beth Wali Asr, and those programs will be relayed online as well. With that, I'd like to request Surah Fatiha for the following Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, who are the sponsors of tonight's program. I'd like to thank tonight's sponsors, the family of Mr. Irshad and Mrs. Sajda Haji, and please recite Surah Fatiha for Fatima Haji, Zainab Suiji Haji, Hassan Ali Bhai Ibrahim, Muhammad Ali Bhai Ibrahim, Muhammad Jafar Suiji Haji, all Marhumeen of Ali Bhai and Suiji Haji families and the Shahada of Islam. Please recite Surah Fatiha and 3 times Surah Ikhlas. Bismillah.
الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتحدون الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين صاحب العصر والزمان خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان ولعن الله أعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا وإن الله لمع المحسنين صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد اللهم The strength and complexities of a young heart has been our ongoing topic. Tonight is lecture number 12 and is our final lecture of this series. We are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the tawfiq to gather like this, to come to like this. Again, it would have been such a nice feeling for me to be there in person with all of you. Inshallah, soon, when this pandemic is over, I will be in your khidmat. But it has been an honor for me to address all of you, and I am thankful to the Beit al-Asr team and to everybody, all the volunteers. The pictures coming out of the tent setup outside, it looked like it was a very nice setup, and all of you were able to kind of make the best of the situation. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive my shortcomings and to accept all of your efforts on this path. May the Imam of our time be happy with all of you, inshallah, and may the mother of Hussein accept your grief and your gham. The attempt has been now to kind of tackle those issues with our youth that are, a little bit of those major issues. Now, mind you, 10, 12, 15, 20 days even, it simply isn't enough. But we did talk about those issues that were a little bit, every day. And so it is important that we review those one by one in our own time. I mean, inshallah, the series is up. You can go back and refer to them as you wish. But the attempt is now for us to kind of tackle these things head on and not simply bury our head in the sand. Doesn't exist. No, these things absolutely exist. And sometimes they exist in our very homes. We're just not aware of it. Now, in my last discussion tonight, what I do want to speak about, inshallah, I will see you all live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be there live, for a Q&A based on the Ashra. And I already see some questions rolling in, so that's nice to see. But tonight, my final message to all of you is that I'm not naive. In the sense that I know that what I'm asking for from my youth is a lot. To be young today is very difficult. It's a challenge. And a challenge that I have asked all of you guys to accept. Like I said before, I have seen a lot of these young guys in New Jersey specifically power through some incredible issues. Broken marriages, drug addiction, an abusive household, a miscarriage, doubts, uncertainty, and you powered through all of it, and you found your path through all of it. And the deen and the religion at least deserves that we fight for it. That's all I'm asking you to do. Fight for it. Seek it out. If you need to destroy the house of the religion because it was built on false premises, it was built on ignorance, it was built on a culture that has nothing to do with Islam, if it was built on, I don't know, religious trauma when you were younger, then I'm asking you as you get older, and it's not easy to do this, destroy that home and rebuild. Restart. Start fresh. Doesn't matter. God's very patient. God has all the time in the world. It's not that God's, okay, look, if you're 20, you should be at this level by now. If you're 30, you should be here by now. No, not at all. Not at all. You know, the hadith of Unwan al-Basri, there's a hadith during the time of Imam Sadiq, alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma salli alayhi. There's a man named Unwan al-Basri. And Unwan al-Basri was a man that, sorry, I got thirsty there, I apologize. Was a man who was a student of Malik ibn Anas. I ask all of you, my young guys, if you can, Google the hadith of Unwan Basri, U-N-W-A-N, Basri, B-A-S-R-I. It's available online at alislam.org. And you read a little bit of the story behind it. Anyways, very quickly, he was the student of Malik ibn Anas, but he wanted to be the student of Imam Sadiq. Who wouldn't be? And so he begged Imam Sadiq, can you please make me your student? And he says, look, you have Malik, you have a teacher, you're good. Right now I have a lot on my plate. So Unwan al-Basri goes to the masjid, prays a 2 rakat salat, begs Allah, please soften the heart of Imam Sadiq towards me. He was adamant, to the point where he ends up on the ground, sitting on the floor in front of the door of Imam Sadiq. I will not take no for an answer, is what he's saying essentially. The Imam sees this, taken aback by his, by mashallah, by his drive, takes him in and begins to teach him a few things. Now, the amazing part is that Unwan al-Basri is 94 years old. 94 years old. Imagine a 94-year-old sitting on the ground in front of the door of Imam Sadiq. Imagine now coming to Beit al-Asr one day and you find a 94-year-old man or a woman sitting at the door, on the ground now, at the door of Beit al-Asr. You would think, everything okay? Can I help you with something? Are you all right? Are you not well? This man was so adamant about learning. And he says, look, teach me from the beginning at 94. So my point is that there's no idea that Islam, Allah says, look, if you don't know by now, don't bother. No, not at all. If you start fresh 10 times, doesn't matter. But you owe it to yourself, you owe it to the religion to at least give it a shot. Give it a shot. I tried Asad Bhai, like I said, I get there's trauma, there's Sunday school trauma, there's auntie and uncle at the center trauma, there's some sheikh or Maulana trauma, there's the fact that you have this fear of failure. Absolutely, I get it. I get all that. I totally get all that. We're talking about a religion that has been introduced by sometimes, I would say all the time, the greatest people of their nation. You pick up the lives and the history of the few prophets we have in history, and you'll find one commonality is the fact that all of them, one by one, all the prophets were the greatest of their nation. There was nobody greater than that prophet in terms of knowledge, akhlaq, traits, morals, values, you name it. And all of them now were preaching one God, one God, one God, one God. If somebody you trust, if a good person now comes to you and says, look, if I were you, I would, for example, take this job, or I would apply to this school, even though you may not be sold on the idea, just because they're telling me and I trust them and they're a good person, they're successful at what they do, I'm going to go ahead and at least give it a shot. 124,000 of the best men this world has created, are all inviting you to one path. Now for me to say, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to go over here. Right? That's you losing yourself in the process, selling yourself short. Okay? So all I ask is that we do this in terms of a fair shot. And what I mean by a fair shot, I mean things like asking God for help. Okay? Trying to tackle the ego inside of them. Now, let me go through a little bit of the idea of asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help, inshallah, and then we will examine the idea of traveling towards God and what that entails. Let's recite a nice loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, please.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل
If you have your phones available, I'm sure you do because right now you're messaging. I know you are. I can see you all the way from here. Open up your Quran app if you can. The Quran app that you have between TikTok and Instagram, that app you have right in between there, it's where it belongs, right? Sandwiched with Instagram and TikTok, you have your iQuran app. And hopefully you didn't cheap out and you paid the $3.99 to get the upgraded version. I tell you, man, people are cheap out there. They'll spend more on a coffee and a bagel than they will on these apps. Khair. Surah An-Nisa, verse number 100, please. Fourth chapter of this glorious book of God. Verse 100, come with me, travel with me to the words of Allah. Let's find out what we can understand. One of the biggest barriers we have is ourself. I talked about the self yesterday, right? Let's understand this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَن يُهَاجِرْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. The one now who travels towards Allah or flies on Allah's path. يَجِدْ فِي الْعَرْضِ مُرَاغَمًا كَثِيرًا وَسَعًا. They'll find that this earth is filled with resources. It's wasi', it's very vast. And then وَمَن يَخْرُجْ مِنْ بَيْتِهِ مُهَاجِرًا. The one who leaves their home in a state where they are migrating إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ يُضْرِكُهُ الْمَوْتِ. In the process, they die, the verse says. Or they attain a level of death, or death overtakes them. فَقَدْ وَقَعَ أَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Right? وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Okay? There is an ajr, a reward waiting for that person. While they're migrating now, something happens and they leave this world. There's an ajr waiting for them. Now, the apparent of this meeting is, the meaning of the verse is that these are talking about immigrants, right? Beit Lasser is an immigrant community. Many of you right now listening to me, you've migrated from your specific country, right? India, Hyderabad, Karachi, Pakistan, wherever you're from. Bombay, wherever you're from. Madras, I don't know. And you came to South Jersey. Maybe not right away. Maybe you stopped off somewhere else. But right now, you are there. Okay? So this verse now talks about you. You left there, hopefully with fi sabilillah, the idea that, you know what, I want a better avenue of education and piety for my child. And so this verse on the outside, on the apparent now, talks about those people that do migration, and if they die in that migration, then there is an ajr waiting for them. Okay? But the botany, the esoteric dimension of this verse is something even more beautiful. There is a hidden meaning. As you know, every verse has 7 layers, 70 layers, 700 layers, as some say. All these have various levels. Okay? Let's understand this verse alone now tonight, to understand how can I now begin to scratch the surface that Syed Asad has been talking about for 12 nights. I'm pouring my heart out to you guys. I'm trying to be your biggest advocate. I'm trying to be your biggest ally. Trying to tell these elders and these parents that, look, not all is lost. This is a beautiful generation that has the absolute capability of running the world, of being ambassadors of the religion. They just need to believe properly, and they need to be introduced to the deen properly. Now, the part of the verse that I want to bring your attention to is a part that says, there are those who leave their house. وَمَنْ يَخْرُجْ مِنْ بَيْتِهِ. Okay? muhajiran ilallahi wa rasulihi. ثُمَّ يُدْرِكُهُ الْمَوْتِ. And then they attain a level of death. Death overtakes them. Now, Imam Khomeini in his book Adab al-Salat talks about a physical journey, talks about a spiritual journey. In talking about this verse alone, he says that understand that there are journeys that are of different types. There are travel of different types. One travel is a suitcase, a boarding pass, a passport, a plane, take off, the peanuts, land, you're good. That's one flight. Another flight is a spiritual flight. There are many of you now who have gone through your spiritual journey, right? You've elevated. Where you were 5 years ago is not where you are today, meaning your location spiritually inside of your heart is something different than it was 5 years ago. Well, that's travel, right? That's a journey, right? Both of these types of journeys have certain signs to them. If I enter your house, let's say, for example, and there's a suitcase at the door zipped up, and there's a boarding pass on the table, a passport in your hand, and you're running around frantically, for example, I would ask you, oh, where are you traveling to? Oh, I'm going to Chicago, for example. Oh, okay. How'd you know I was traveling? All the signs point to you traveling. There's a suitcase, there's a passport, there's a boarding pass, and you are frantic. It's travel day, right? It's frantic. If I walked in and you were sitting there on your couch, no sign of a suitcase, no passport, no frantic, no boarding pass, and you said, yeah, I'm actually traveling right now. I go, you're traveling right now? You're sitting there doing nothing. You're in your home in your pajamas. How are you traveling right now? So there are signs of travel. Imam Khomeini says that just like there are signs of physical travel, there are signs of spiritual travel. And what is that sign of spiritually traveling towards Allah? We must leave our home. Remember, traveling in the physical realm is when you leave your home, right? You hop in a car and you drive to the airport. You can't be at home and still be considered to be somebody who is traveling. You must what? You must do ikhraj of your bayt. Khuruj of your bayt. Exiting your bayt. तुम्हें घर से निकलना है. Once you leave your ghar, your bayt, your home, your manzil, then you're traveling. Okay? Now in this verse, on the apparent now, talking about what? وَمَنْ يَخْرُجْ مِنْ بَيْتِهِ, the one now who leaves their home, right? مُهَاجِرًا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. These are people now who have left their homes in searching of, in direction of Allah, ilallah, in, pointing towards Allah. But the only meaning of this bayt is not a physical home. Okay? The esoteric, the batin, the hidden meaning of this verse is that bayt is not seen as a physical four walls with a bedroom and a couple of bathrooms. Bayt is seen as your nafs, as your soul, okay? As your ego, let's say. So now, when the verse says that those who leave their home in search of God, we no longer are talking about leaving a physical dwelling, but now we're leaving our ego in search of God. And remember, if there's physical signs of a physical journey, there are spiritual signs of a spiritual journey. Okay? We can't be at home, and the comfort level is our ego, is our narcissistic ways. Think about it. When you're by yourself, when you're alone, you're like, oh, I feel so comfortable right now. I'm by myself. I don't have to be on around people. I can sit there, I can watch the game, I can watch this, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm good, I'm comfortable, I'm with myself. On top of that, our home becomes comfortable because our spiritual home, our nafsi home, our ego, is the one that always fans me, is always there for me. When everyone else doesn't understand me, my ego understands me. When I'm wronged and no one can see the wronging, it's my ego that says, yeah, man, you were wronged, bro. When no one praises me for all the work I do, oh my God, amazing lecture, Asad, that was life-changing. Not one word, no one has said anything. Example, right? It's my ego that comes, oh, by the way, That was a good speech you gave, man. Good for you. I'm like, thanks, Mr. Ego. I really appreciate it. Right? When I want to feel regret for my sins, it's my ego that says, whoa, 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 whoa. Come on, man. You're not that bad. There's others who are 10 times worse than you. That was one small little sin. It's okay. You're a good person. You're a believer. Good for you. It's my ego that picks me up, dusts me off. It's my ego that pumps me and makes me feel like I am the king of the world. And I'm comfortable with that. That's my home. I like that. Who doesn't like that? Islam says if you want to travel towards God, you must leave that home. Oh, what a beautiful concept. You must be those وَمَنْ يُخْرِجْ مِنْ بَيْتِهِ, leaving the home, leaving the ego, leaving that narcissistic voice that's just pumping you. You're the best, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're the man, oh my goodness, no one's better than you. They're jealous of you. And in this me-centric, me generation, that ego is very loud, very clear, and has complete control over us. If we want to be considered to be traveling towards God, and I really, truly believe everyone right now who's listening to me, none of you have this enmity towards God. I say this up and down this Muharram. I don't think, maybe I'm naive, that there is this dushmani, this enmity towards God, that you know what, watch, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to break every one of his commands. Oh, I can't wait to anger God. I don't think we want to now travel. We can't travel if we're at home. We can't travel towards God and still be at home. We can't. It's not possible. Okay? The Quran says, look, I haven't given you qalbayn fi jawfihi. I haven't given you two hearts inside your chest. I gave you one heart. There's one heart inside your chest. You can't have you in that heart and God in that heart. You can't. You can't worship you and worship God. That's shirk. That's polytheism. You can't do that. It's not going to work. Something's going to give. Okay? So part of the process that I'm asking all of you to do, and by the way, I'm with you as well. I like to believe I'm still a young guy. I know, losing my hair, white beard, I get it. Don't make fun of me. I understand. But it doesn't mean these concepts don't apply to me. If we want to get anywhere, we have to begin to crush the ego. As much as I love my young guys nowadays, ooh, baby, there's a lot of ego inside you guys, man. Holy smokes. Like, you won't do anything until I am convinced of something. And I love the fact that you want to be convinced, but you have to convince yourself that some things I will never understand. I can't. He's unlimited. I'm limited. It's enough for me to say that he asked me to do it. Khalas. That's it. Tamam should. Okay, that's it. I'll do it. If he gifts me and grants me a little bit of serenity and security and certainty that, okay, this is why you're doing it, that's fine. That's not a prerequisite. So if you're going to ask a question, and I've said this multiple times, the boldness of this generation, I absolutely love. Oh my God, the questions I get. To my parents out there who listen to me, you would die of shame if you could hear the questions I get on my phone, in my email, on my Instagram, I don't know, at Costco, wherever they find me, they'll stop me. At a red light, true story. He said, at a red light, he goes, can you just pull your window down? I said, yes. He said, is this fish haram? I'm going to a restaurant right now and I want to order this fish. I said, no, it's not haram. Okay, great. I go, enjoy your meal. And it turned green, drove off. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Gotta crush the ego, right? So if you're gonna ask a question, accept the answer. You know what I get sometimes when people ask, when these young guys ask questions, I give an answer. I give a comprehensive answer sometimes. And this is the response I get. Yeah, no, I don't know. That doesn't sit well. No. There's got to be more. Thanks. I'll ask somebody else. Whoa, dude, that's so egotistical. Like, what tells you what have you read where you're able now to decipher the fact that, yeah, that's not the best answer for me, for you. There's ego there. That's a huge barrier now. I'm sorry. Islam says submit. The ego says, whoa, wait a second. Who are you submitting to? Others should submit to you. So now when the verse says those who leave their home in search of God, وَيُدْرِكُهُ الْمَوْتِ, and they are able to attain death. What is that death? That death is the death of the self. Mutu qabla an tamutu, the Prophet says, die before you die. Yani chi? Kya matlab hai? Die before you die? Yeah. Destroy your ego before your physical body is gone. When that ego is gone, then we can turn towards Allah and say, Allah, please, I need help. I'm 18 years old. I'm 21 years old. I'm 16. I'm 13. I'm 24. I need your help. I turn to God, ask Him for help. Stop for a second after your salat. For 3 minutes, sit on the musalla, put your head down, and converse with God. Ask Him. Why would He want to answer me? وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةِ دَاعِي إِذَا دَعَانِ. When my servants ask you, Ya Rasulullah, about me, tell them, فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ, I'm near. I'm right beside them. I haven't gone anywhere. Nabi Musa alayhi salam is asking Allah, Allah, when I talk to you, when I beg you, do I climb the highest mountain and scream at the top of my lungs for you? Or do I whisper to you? Because you're so close. The answer comes, Musa, when have I left you for you to climb a mountain and scream at the top of your lungs? Tell me. When have I ever left your side? And the word munajat, Imam Ali, munajat khamseen, munajat comes from najwa in Arabic, means to whisper. If you want Allah to move into your heart, you have to ask the roommate now, the other guy, to move out. Say, look guys, it's a 1-bedroom apartment. I only have 1 bedroom in my heart, I'm sorry, and that bedroom is for God. He's going to pay rent here. Hopefully you don't charge God rent, but you have to go. I'm sorry. I can't worship you and worship Him at the same time. I'd rather worship Him. So now look at the verse of Surah Nisa, verse number 100, through the lens of the esoteric, the batin. Now when you say when they leave the home of the narcissist, they leave their egotistical home, they leave the I, me, then what happens? Then they begin to journey towards God. You can't be at home and say, I'm traveling to God. No, you're not. You're traveling to yourself. Now, mind you, it's a parallel process. I'm not saying, okay, let's first remove the guy and then let God move in. No, it's going to be a transitional phase. So as God moves in, He'll slowly collect His things and pack up and take His time and ease out. Now, how do I do that? Let's keep things very simple tonight. Okay? I've thrown a lot at you. Let's keep things very simple tonight, and we'll keep it a little bit short tonight. It is the last night. Inshallah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow night, live, inshallah, at 6 p.m. Eastern. Anyways, how do we do that? Taqwa. You heard it 1,000 times. Taqwa is a huge word, a huge issue. It has many different dimensions and definitions to it. Okay? The bare minimum definition of taqwa, it has 2 dimensions to it: refraining and controlling. Refrain and control. That's the name of taqwa. To refrain yourself from doing everything and controlling yourself from doing the right things. Meaning what? You control your own narrative. That's what I want to drill inside my young guys today. I want to say, look, you control the narrative. Don't let anyone else tell you you're beautiful. Don't let someone else tell you you're not religious enough. Don't let anyone tell you that, you know what, you need to be with the times. It's 2021, blah, blah, blah. Don't give everything of yours to someone else. You tell me, am I validated? Am I accepted? Am I a good person? Am I this? Am I that? No, stop doing that. Recapture those things for yourself. Be in control. You guys want freedom, right? Freedom is a huge issue. I talked about freedom in the Ashra. Freedom. But freedom and being instinctive are 2 different things. Being instinctive is chaos. It's anarchy. It'll destroy you. Freedom is in the act of the fact that you control your destiny. So when taqwa says refrain from sins, and you have control of your wajibat, meaning what? You have every right now to do them or not do them, but I want you to control it. Recapture your own narrative. Because I'll tell you one thing, what's going to happen is people like me on the day of judgment, in my grave, I'll sit there and I'll blame shaitan. It was him, it was her, it was him, it was him, it was that group, it was this community. And they'll all say, no, sir, it was you. Shaitan will say, in the Quran, Shaitan will say, whoa, you're going to blame me. I didn't force you. I don't have milkiyat over you. I don't have sultanat over you, the Quran says. He's not a sultan. Sultan meaning what? He didn't grab my hand and move towards the slot machine and pulled my slot machine in the casino. He didn't grab my hand and force myself to pick up that glass of beer, let's say, or whiskey. No. He didn't do that. He said he'll say himself, I whispered, I suggested, and that's it. You're the one that took my suggestion. You're the one that took my recommendation. And he'll say, oh, by the way, all of these prophets, these imams, these ulama, Asad bhai, parents, Quran, they also kept saying, do this, try that, try this avenue. You said no to all of these thousands of people, and little old me, you said labbaik to. And you want me to take blame for that? No. That's you, my man. That was you. Nobody else. Control the narrative. Control the media. Control the headlines inside of your internal kingdom. Don't let someone else come in. Late breaking news, Asad Jafri is not a mu'min. Late breaking news, Asad Jafri is not beautiful. Asad Jafri is not a good person. Asad Jafri is not religious enough for this place. And all the headlines now are printed. I was like, oh, I didn't know that about myself. So you read an article about, oh, okay. What do they know? And really, we're going to let this morally bankrupt world, this value deficient society, tell me about who I am and how I should be? And I'm going to roll over and say, okay, yeah, you're right. All this tarbiyat, all this nurturing of the Ahlul Bayt, of your parents, of the communities, who spend thousands and thousands of dollars and all of this time and effort now to bring you the message. Remember one thing. There's a saying that all of you know, never meet your role models. Have you seen these videos? These little kids now with the jersey in their hand and a Sharpie waiting for the player now to come out of the tunnel and say, oh, can you please sign my jersey? Please, I'm your biggest fan. And he just snubs them. He actually hits the jersey out of their face. He can't believe it. To them, this guy's an angel. I have posters on him. My pencil case has his face on it. My backpack is him. This is my first game. I brought my jersey. I bought the jersey now just to be signed, and he snubbed me. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness, what a horrible human being. Never meet your role models. We have 12 role models, 14 role models. Pick one. Pick one. And the more you meet them, the more you get to know them, they'll never disappoint you. Tell me one instance in the 14 Ma'sumin of the Ahlul Bayt, tell me one instance where you stop to think, you know what, it would have been better if they dealt with it like this. They were a little bit harsher. Yeah. I don't know if that was the best approach. Really? Tell me one. Give me one. 14 lives. Okay? From the moment of migration to the ghibat of the Imam, 250 years. 2.5 centuries of a sunnat of the Ahlul Bayt. Give me one conversation that they did wrong. Where you could say, they embarrassed you. Give me one moment the Ahlul Bayt embarrassed you. It's not there. They're your role models. They've given you tarbiyat. Your parents have given you tarbiyat. The ulama have given you tarbiyat. All of that now for you to throw away for a morally bankrupt society. Baba, don't do that to yourself, man. You're better than that. But you have to leave the bait and the house of the ego. Humble yourself. And how do you do that? You put your forehead on dirt. How do you do that? You read the supplications of the Ahlul Bayt. How do you do that? You serve and serve your parents, the community, whoever you can. And you live a life of beauty. Because in Karbala, the rituals of the first 10 days now are over. Ashura now has come and gone. And so maybe now we can focus a little bit on Ashura being a path of resistance, a model of life, a blueprint for salvation. This is not one historical event to commemorate. Up and down every moment in the day of Ashura, be it Imam Hussein's reaction to things, be it his family, his companions, be it Bibi Zainab, be it Imam Sajjad, all of it screams emulation, copy. Ashura is a movement. Ashura is a life plan. It's not one day of battle. Yes, there's a zahir to it, an exoteric dimension to it, which was fulfilled in 61st Hijri, which we cried for a couple of days ago. But let's look at the fact that all of it was this idea of Hussein controlled the narrative. I sent the tweet out. It is unbelievable the battle Imam Hussein fought on the day of Ashura. He alone. He was one. Oh, this point is so crucial. He was one. There was 30,000 on that side. 1 versus 30,000. Let me say it one more time, okay? 1 versus 30,000. And yet that one controlled the entire day of Ashura. That one controlled his portion of the battle. When he paused, the battle paused. When he went back to the khayma, the battle paused. When he roared into the Maidan of Karbala, the battle paused. When he stopped to get some shade, they stopped. He controlled the direction of the battle. One did to 30,000. And if we are the Azadar of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, regain that narrative. Write your own headlines. You've given up, you have relinquished your control to too many people who have no business telling you you're not good enough, you're great, you're too good, you're soft, you're this and that. Stop it. Stop it. You're a person. You have some self-respect. You need to regain that control. And the way Imam Hussein now navigated the day of Ashura, my salams to you, Abu Abdullah. Holy smokes, man. Abdullah ibn Ammar now, in the Maqtal of Abu Mikhnaf, it's online, read it. He says, I never saw somebody fight the way Hussein fought on the day of Ashura. He said, I had to be reminded this is a man who lost his sons and lost his brothers and lost his companions. Any other man would have been broken. He said, the way this man fought was unbelievable. They would come to the right, he would fight them. They'll come to the, he would fight one by one. He said they would make them flee. Thousands would flee from him. By Allah, nobody could fight the way Hussein fought on the day of Ashura. Nobody could. He controlled that headline. He controlled that narrative to the point where some maqal to say, as he was fighting, he would look to the banks of Furat and say, Abbas, do you see my battle, Abbas? Are you watching your Hussein fighting or not? Every other shaheed from the door of the khayma, the door of the tent, Hussein would sit there and watch his Awna Muhammad, watch his Qasim, watch his Ali Akbar, watch his Abbas. The Allah would go up and down, up and down. But this was Asri Ashur. Nobody was there to watch Hussein fight. When everyone fell from the horse, Assalamu alayka, Ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alayka, Ya Abata, alayka minni salam, Ya Abata. All of them, one by one, my salams Hussein, my salams Hussein. That's when he would run. But when my Hussein fell from the horse, but these are the days of Bibi Zainab. Hussein's Ashura, Hussein's sacrifice is done. He did what he was destined to do. Now Zainab takes this mission forward. Sharikatul Hussein, Ummul Masa'ib. This is where her musibat now. And by the way, her musibat didn't just start then. This is a woman now who's in her late 50s. And you would think that everything she's experienced so far, from the death of her mother against the door, to the poison of her father, to the throwing up of the liver of her brother Hassan alayhi salam, and of course to Asr Ashur. Any other woman would have been broken by now, completely now surrendered by now. But we see, I don't know how she does it. There's a resolve in Zainab. There's a strength in Zainab. There's a determination in Zainab. Almost as if she says, Hussein, you now, I will take your mission and go from Kufa to Sham back to Medina. I will make sure nobody forgets you. That same Zainab that stood there with all this trauma on the day of Ashura, the trauma of her brother, the trauma of her father, the trauma of her mother. She took all of that in the courtyard of Yazid and stood there in that Shami place surrounded by 700 men. When Yazid now removes all the children, there comes a moment where Imam Sajjad now is there. Zainab is there. Kulsum is there. Fizza is there. Imam Sajjad is there. In the middle of the courtyard, 700 non-Mahram Shami men looking at this tamasha unfold. On the mimbar is Yazid. He would say, Umar bin Saad ibn Ziyad, I heard Hussein brought his sister to Karbala. Yes. Yes, he did. Is she here? Yes, she's here. She didn't die? No, she didn't die. I want to speak to her. So Imam Sajjad says, they removed the children. They removed the women one by one. There was 4 of us left. I was doing my level best to protect my Pupi Amma, protect my Aunt Zainab. They moved Fizza. They moved Kulsum. Then they beat me and they dragged me and they moved me. And at that moment, the daughter of Ali stood there by herself in the courtyard of Sham. 700 men, non-Mahram men, watching the daughter of Ali. Yazid's non-Mahram eyes on the daughter of Ali. When Imam Sajjad says, at that moment when I saw the non-Mahram eyes of Yazid staring at Zainab, it was at that moment I wished that my heart would have broken. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept this qaleel ibadat, inshallah. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever was said in these past 12 nights, that you give us a tawfiq to practice what's been said, convert it to amal. I ask you, Allah, I beg you, Allah, these are incredible youth. These are inspiring youth. These are the best that we have. I ask you, Allah, please inspire them to be better. Let them realize their value. Let them control their narrative. Forgive their sins. Look over their mistakes. And give them that inner strength, inshallah, to be the soldiers of Imam Mahdi, inshallah. Matamir Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ali.
जाते हुए रोके सजाद ने कहा अस्सलाम बेकस बाबा बेकस बेटे का सलाम अस्सलाम अलैक या गरीब हुसैना मैं एक बेकस परदेसी हूँ मैं लौट के आऊंगा मैं एक बेकस परदेसी हूँ मैं लौट के आऊंगा मैं साथ फूफी के बाबा मैं साथ फूफी के बाबा कुरान सुनाऊंगा मैं एक बेकस परदेसी हूँ मैं लौट के आऊंगा हो तुम पे सलाम मेरा ए मेरे गरीब पदर एक काफिला था तेरा एक मैं भी चला लेकर मैं इब्ने हुसैन हुए बाबा मैं इब्ने हुसैन हुए बाबा जालिम को बताऊंगा मैं एक बेकस परदेसी हूँ मैं लौट के आऊंगा और एक रासी में बाबा हाई बार गले होंगे सब छोटे बड़े बाबा एक साथ बंदे होंगे محمل سے گرتے بچوں کو، محمل سے گرتے بچوں کو سینے سے لگاؤں گا، میں ایک بے کس پردیسی ہوں، میں لوٹ کے آؤں گا، میں ایک بے کس پردیسی ہوں، میں لوٹ کے آؤں گا، ہم قیدی بنے ہوں گے، دربار سجا ہوگا، ہائی تاشت تلا میں اور سر تیرا رکھا ہوگا، اس پل میں سکینہ کو بابا، اس پل میں سکینہ کو بابا کس طرح سنبھالوں گا، میں ایک بے کس پردیسی ہوں، میں لوٹ کے آؤں گا، مانگے گا سکینہ کو ایک شامی کنیزی میں، مر جاؤں گا میں بابا سن کر یہ اسیری میں، زہرا کی شبی کو اے بابا، زہرا کی شبی کو اے بابا ظالم سے بچاؤں گا، میں ایک بے کس پردیسی ہوں، میں لوٹ کے آؤں گا، تیری یاد میں رو رو کر زندان بسائے گی، پھر موت سکینہ کی ہم سب کو رلائے گی، میں اس کی لحد بھی اے بابا، میں اس کی لحد بھی اے بابا ہاتھوں سے بناؤں گا، میں ایک بے کس پردیسی ہوں، میں لوٹ کے آؤں گا، میں ایک بے کس پردیسی ہوں، میں لوٹ کے آؤں گا، یا حسین یا حسین
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا علی.
ہائے عباس 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 ہائے عباس، چلتے خیموں سے صدا آئی سر کرب و بلا، ہائے عباس ہائے عباس ہائے عباس ہائے عباس، لو خبر جلد کہ اب بستر سجاد جلا، ہائے عباس ہائے عباس ہائے عباس ہائے عباس، تنہا تھا برادر کی بہن ہے بن میں، نیند کیوں آ گئی بھائی بتاؤ رن میں، نیند سے جاگو چنی زینب مضطر کی ردا، ہائے عباس ہائے عباس ہائے عباس ہائے عباس، میرے غازی میرے صفدر میرے میرے لشکر، دیکھ بے آس پردیس میری تیری خواہر، کٹ گیا سبت پیمبر کا بھی سجدے میں گلا، ہائے عباس 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 ہائے عباس، میرا اکبر میرا قاسم میرا اصغر نہ رہا، دو میرے لالت دونوں میں سے کوئی نہ بچا، نہ کوئی بھائی بھتیجا نہ کوئی ہے بیٹا، Hi Abbas, 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 hi Abbas. جلتے خیموں سے صدا آئی سر کرب و بلا. Hi Abbas, hi Abbas, hi Abbas, hi Abbas. لو خبر جلد کے بستر سجاد جلا. Hi Abbas, hi Abbas, hi Abbas, hi Abbas. Ya Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Ali.
میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا نانا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا نانا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. مینوں کے سنا پر ہوں، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا نانا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. نانا دیکھو نواسا کہاں گیا، نانا دیکھو نواسا کہاں گیا. میں نے کربو بلا کو معلّا کیا، خون میرا آج خاکے شفا بن گیا. میں نے بچپن کا وعدہ وفا کر دیا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا نانا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. مینوں کے سنا پر ہوں، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا نانا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. دین و قرآن بچے تیرا کعبہ بچا، تا قیامت رہے گی اذان کی صدا. مدرسہ بن گئی آج سے کربلا، ہائے نانا مگر میرا گھر نہ رہا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. مینوں کے سنا پر ہوں، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا نانا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. کتنے لاشیں اٹھائے ہیں ایک روز میں، کتنے آنسو بہائے ہیں ایک روز میں، سینکڑوں تیر کھائے ہیں ایک روز میں، سارے وعدے نبھائے ہیں ایک روز میں، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. مینوں کے سنا پر ہوں، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا نانا، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. میرے نانا سکینہ کا غم دیکھیے، عمر اتنی سے اتنے ستم دیکھیے، جلتی ریتی پہ اس کے قدم دیکھیے، کتنے مجبور ہے آج ہم دیکھیے، میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا. مینوں کے سنا پر ہوں، وعدہ ہوا پورا نانا میرا وعدہ ہوا پورا
حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
وہ عابد بیمار تھا
وہ عابد بیمار تھا
جلنے سے جو لاچار تھا
وہ چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا
اور شام کا بازار تھا
اور شام کا بازار تھا
اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں
مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
وہ اصغر بے شیر تھا
وہ اصغر بے شیر تھا
اور حرملہ کا تیر تھا
اور حرملہ کا تیر تھا
ننا گلا کیوں کر چھدا
ننا گلا کیوں کر چھدا
لرزی زمین اور
آسمان مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسین یا حسین حسین مولا 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 یا امام
السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ السلام علیکم یا حبیب اللہ السلام علیکم امیر المومنین علی بن ابی طالب علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام السلام علیکم یا فاطمۃ الزہرا سیدۃ النساء العالمین السلام علیکم حسن مجتبی علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام السلام علیکم ابا عبد اللہ وعلی الارواح التي حلت بفنائک علیک منی سلام اللہ ابدا ما بقيت بخير الليل والنهار ولا جاره الله آخر أحد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين السلام عليكم يا أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين محمد بن علي جعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى محمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان السلام عليك شريك القرآن السلام عليك خليفة الرحمن السلام عليك مظهر الإيمان الأمان 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 رجى الله تعالى فرجك سهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك واجعلنا من أوانك وأنصارك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته
اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى
نعرہ حیدری
Mu'mineen, just a reminder, tomorrow at 6 p.m. online program with Maulana live Q&A session. Please join us tomorrow, inshallah.